Welcome, folks, to tonight's racing as we've got the Australian Sports Car Championship getting set to go tonight live from Road America. They're straight into it tonight. They're gridding up for us already. We'll head straight down to the racetrack and welcome aboard tonight with the flyover. How cool is this place? And round number 6 getting underway. And sorry about last one. We had to do no commentary on the last one, but we're back tonight in full voice, which is fantastic. And there's your race info for this evening. We'll head down to the racetrack. A smallish grid tonight, but we've still got the regulars out there tonight. And we've got Ross Rizzo, who has put it on pole position for tonight's race. You'll have Brad Watson starting alongside. Here is your starting grid. So it's Rizzo and Watson off the front row, followed by Josh Pitt and Croydon off the second row. Then it's Santucci and Michael Healy, your top 6. James Gaskell tonight starts from 7th with Edward Foster alongside him in 8th place. Jono Freeman will start from 9th with Bradley Ratu out of 10th tonight. Hopkinson out of 11th with Dylan Shepherd, your top 12. Back in the order for this rolling start, we've got 13th place James Foster with Hewitt out of 14th. Justin Quinn, then it's Thomas Hinds and Daniel Misdale down there in 17th. Greentree rounds out your 18 with Culture down in 19th, and Adam Gardner over in race control. He'll be making sure things go to plan tonight. And let's turn down the music, and we've got Adam Gardner just giving the final words to the drivers as we roll around to start what will be this 50-minute race. And we're doing a full lap by the looks of things. Tricky circuit, this one. It's got a lot of big sweeping corners. It really loads the tyres, particularly I think through the midsection where you go through the left-hander at 8. It's a very tight left-hander, then through a big double right. It's a sweeping of 9 and 10. The carousel is the name for it, as Ross Rizzo gets right alongside the safety car there. And then we head down the kink, and a very fast little kink to the left before Canada Corner, which will be a huge passing opportunity depending on who has got the most skills tonight. So some good names out there getting set to go racing. The points, hopefully this is right. I've just been quickly uploading these before we ran into tonight's round, but there it is. Ross Rizzo leading the championship on 549 points from Jimmy Dalton and Amanda Dalton up there as well. I'm just going to double check those correct, because I think there's a couple of funny names in there just further down the list, which I won't get to. So I'll double check. We got the file sent through to us earlier. I'll make sure that is the correct one that's been given across. So, right, we're about to get set to go racing. The Porsche safety car will get out of the way shortly, and we'll get underway. So, as we quickly look now, and we'll get those new names put up on the screen shortly for the championship points. In fact, we'll come back to it at the end of the broadcast, because we want to sort of pick up where they're at. Round 6 of the championship, still a little way to go, but definitely it's getting to the pointy end now where you want to try and score as many top positions as you can. So quite a long rolling lap here. The drivers will be getting set, getting a little bit nervous as well, no doubt. And as soon as they come around and that safety car gets out of the way, we'll get underway and get racing. And pit stop strategy may be important tonight as well around this circuit. Who can get the job done? We'll find out. But it's Ross Rizzo who will lead us away shortly. And the Pro Class driver getting set to go, Ben Croydon, starts out of 4th. He's one of the Pro-Am drivers, isn't he? So he's been able to slip up there tonight, get himself amongst the pros. In fact, he's an amateur. So Santucci, the top of the Pro-Am drivers tonight. And Ross Rizzo, well, here we go. So down the back straight, like I said, it's a long time. It's 4 minutes already into this rolling lap before we even get started. And that gives me a quick chance to say g'day to a few people. So we'll head across now to the chat. And we've got Keith over on Facebook. As always, thank you, Keith, for your 34 weeks of absolute legend status following us here on Race Stars TV. He says, g'day, Luke from COVID Central. It's not COVID Central anymore. It's much better here now. Do a slight cough, but hey, we're all good here. The yellow flags are waving now. That's interesting. We are about ready to get underway, though. So getting close to start here. Rizzo and Watson, the front row, looking back from Ross Rizzo's car. You can see there it is. And Eddie's in the house too, 17-week streak. Thanks, Eddie. Who's your pick for tonight? Will anyone stop Ross Rizzo as they head up this long climb now up towards the pits? And it looks like we're going to stay out yellow, so we're extending another lap here behind the safety car. I wonder what the reasoning for that will be. See if we can't get a little message sent across to our broadcast chat to find out. So an extra lap here to grid the order up. We seem to have a lot of cars jumping in the pits too. Now, is this within the rules and regulations? Plenty of drivers in the pit lane on this second lap. Now, they are maybe thinking, and I tell you what, Foster's in there, Quinn's in there as well, Hopkinson's in. Are they thinking that they can now fuel up and run to the end of the race from there, or is there another issue within the server itself? So we'll just try and get to the bottom of that as soon as we can. It gives us a chance now just to have a quick look then at the overall class and the class points. I'll quickly load those in for you. So coming into this round, and we've had the 6 rounds. Well, this is the 6th round, I should say. And the overall championship, the Drivers' Championship, which hopefully will load in for me, looks a little bit like this, or looks something like this. So it is on top of the points, Ross Rizzo, Jimmy Dalton there, and Amanda Dalton. They're the top 3. Paulo, and then Nicholson, Huggin, and Simon J, your top 7, with Deeth, Foster, and Santucci down there in 10th place. So they're the championship points that have come across from the file they've sent me. Hopefully that's correct. I'll try and dive into the depths of Discord to double check that, just to make sure that there's nothing untoward going on with those points tonight. So we roll around, the second lap of the race, and this is eating into the time. Don't forget, the lights are off on the safety car, so we will go green at the end of this lap, but keeping in mind we're already 7 minutes into a 50-minute race, so it's going to be a little bit tricky. Strategy-wise, I think those drivers that came into the pits, Freeman, Hopkinson, Foster, Misdale, Queen, and Gallacher, have actually done themselves a pretty good service there because of the amount of time taken from the race. If they're fueled to the brim, which it looks like they have, they put in 43 seconds worth of fuel, they'll be able to make it home. So how good does the police car look? It says Smurf Larry. Does look very cool. That's Brad Watson. Watto PDC racing car. So right, we're getting set hopefully now for a start. Just going through the back end of this circuit. There's a look forward from Ross Rizzo. He's really giving the safety car hurry up here. He wants to get underway. There might be a couple of little holes in the overlay tonight. Like I said, it was sent through prior to the broadcast, but I can just see Hopkinson there. He's not classed, and neither is Edward Foster. So we'll run with it tonight and see how we go. Anyway, there's something going on in the background. We're not too sure, but that extra lap behind the safety car was for a reason. It looked like everyone had staged up. I know Adam Gardner's maybe listening. Maybe you can just quickly flick us a message just to fill us in on what's going on there. The cars look great though. The paint job's standing out as always. That livery, the TTR livery of Ross Rizzo up the front. Going to get himself a flag win here as we just go down now through the final couple of corners. And well, turn 14 is when we unleash the fury up the pit straight away, and you're going to see hopefully this time we'll go green. So they're through 14. Now onto the pit straight, the safety car's into the lane, and let's get set for a start here. And they're off and they're racing at last. So we start lap 3 of the race, and it is, in fact, it's just reset back to 1, so they got themselves a double staging lap, and it's reset the time as well, which is probably handy for a couple of those drivers that were feeling a little bit upset with the fact that others got to pit. So they've restarted the timer, 50 minutes to go, lap 1. Rizzo leads from Watson as they head down the hill, fit in tow, and then it's Croydon, Healy and Santucci as they fly through this opening exchange. Ross Rizzo out in front, looking in control, back in the order a little bit. They're kicking up the dust already. Dylan Shepherd's on the run down here. He's already up 1 position in the Porsche. He's chasing after Ratu and Freeman. You've got Hopkinson just behind those guys as well. Rizzo at the front already, about a car and a half length in front of Watson. He's got Josh Fitt It is about 3-4 car lengths off the back then of Watson, so trying to stay and trying to run with the top two is Joshua Fitt, Croydon and Healy as well. Honing in onto the back of those cars, Michael Healy, another of the GTR drivers, right behind Brandon Croydon. We'll jump on board with him, looking forward. So pretty good start by all the drivers. Freeman's just run a little bit wide, kicking up the dust. I saw that side of screen. Now he's just got through. In fact, Foster's got through. Delayed start due to incidents on the formation lap. So there you go. Thank you, race control. Now I presume, reading between the lines there, a couple of cars maybe had some damage that needed to get fixed. And that is why they went through the pit lane. So interesting. As we watch Ross Rizzo start to stamp a little bit of dominance out the front, already moving 3-4 tenths out in front. Graham Ellis in the house with the stars. Thanks, Graham. Hope you're doing well, man. And it's been a great series, this Australian Sports Car Championship. I've really enjoyed it, and we head now into what is, I think, 4 or 5 rounds to go. Round 6 after Winton last time out. They are looking great once again. Santucci under pressure here. In fact, he's putting some pressure back on James Glasspool, who in the little Audi kicks up the dust onto the pit straight. He goes, and look at Radu with a great run. Sorry, Santucci with a great run now, trying to sneak through as a 2:06.4. Flying lap time there from Ross Rizzo, and he goes defensive. Glasspool down into turn 1. Santucci will try and go the long way around the outside. That's a pretty brave move this early in the race. He can't make it stick just yet, so he tucks back in behind the Audi, and we ride on board as he gives him almost a little bit of a bump there for good measure. Good clean racing from these drivers at the start of the race. Lap 2, 2.5 minutes into the race now, and it's still Rizzo, Watson and Fitt, your top 3. So big move here. Santucci dives to the inside. Look how wide Glasspool is as well in the Audi. Has he gone too deep? It looks like he has. They're going to come back. They make contact. Contact between those cars as Bradley Ratu goes around the outside of both of them, then gets the inside for the left-hander. And he's fighting tooth and nail here with James and also Vincent stuck in behind. So that was a really good exchange. Somehow they all kept it on the racetrack and we didn't lose any of them. Wow-wee. As Dylan Shepherd also just behind that little crew of cars gets closer and closer to the back of Santucci. He wants to get involved in a piece of that action as well. So great racing, good start between all the drivers. This mid-pack battle is furious. Behind them you've got James Foster. He's in the BMW, then Freeman and Hinz tucked behind. It's a Porsche duo chasing down Foster. So Jono Freeman and Thomas Hinz back there in 11th and 12th place. Then it's Edward Foster next in line. He's a little bit further back again. Ross Rizzo remains out in front. Ratu's gone off the track. He's backwards in the Lamborghini and he's in the gravel trap. It'll be a long recovery from there. In fact, he has to spin the other way when he sees a Gaucher coming through at high speed. So he's gone a long way to get out of the gravel, and he'll rejoin right at the back now of the field. And we'll try and get you a little replay on what has just happened there. So was it contact with another car? Let's have a quick look for you. Down the inside, Santucci had a look, and then just the slightest of touches, I think, sent him round. That's why the Mark 1 Esports driver went off for a little excursion there. Watson, the fastest driver out on the racetrack now, has closed up the margin to Ross Rizzo. It's down to 0.3 of a second between the top two. Let's ride on board with Ross Rizzo and see if the Audi's going to make a move sooner than later. It's Lamborghini leading a couple of Audis now, and then it's the Porsche of Ben Croydon holding on to 4th place. On board with PDC Racing's Brad Watson, P2. He tucks in now behind Ross Rizzo, just getting the advantage of the toe. What's happened to Glasspool? I think was there contact between them. Oh, there is a big crash. James is off. Oh, Dylan Shepherd's off too. We lost another drive. Huge crash for Glasspool. It continues to go, and there's a lot of damage there. This could be a safety car, unless these drivers can get running. So they can get running, but there's a little bit of contact there. I'm not sure if that was a bit of spite, or he's a bit upset there with Justin Quinn, but we'll go back and have a look at that incident. But that was a big one, notably for James Glasspool. Let's have a quick look at that now. Just how it unfolded. So Santucci. 877 around the outside. That was Santucci. Made the first bit of contact. He came back on like a pinball, unfortunately, and then Gaspil, he gets clobbered again there by the flying Lamborghini. And that was a huge impact, that one. And we'll just roll that back a bit and have a quick look. So where did the Lamborghini come from in all that? That was just trying to pick where he was. There he is there. So it's Justin Quinn. Now he clips the front end of the Porsche, and that's what made that impact so big. Huge front end impact for Justin Quinn, and that's why we will probably, let's have a quick look. See if we've got drivers jumping in the pits. Yeah, but we're staying green by the looks of things after all that. Now who got going again? Glasspill's in the pits, so's Dylan Shepherd. Trying to see which other drivers unfortunately aren't going to make it back from there. The battle still rages though in mid-pack with Santucci. Just ahead here of Foster and Hopkinson. Nothing in it down the inside. It's Edward Foster. Says thank you very much. Nice little overtake there. Moves himself up into 8th place. That's where he started the race. Now he can get on after Thomas Hinz, who's in 9th place. Hinz at the moment, sorry, he's in 7th place. Up 9 positions, Thomas Hinz. So it's been a really good start. Good opening exchange for this man tonight. The Sim Racing channel. Driver Thomas Hinz, great job. So Shepherd, Quinn and Glaspell all in the pits after that big incident. I'm not sure we'll see them come back. We'll wait and see if they're going to get back out into the race. Let's hope so. With only 19 drivers tonight, we'd like to see those drivers at least fight for a finish. Rizzo's now got a 6.5 tenths of a second lead over Brad Watson. They're dropping Josh Fitt by quite a margin now, 2.9 seconds back to third. Croydon just staying in touch in third place. The Porsche tucked up behind the Audi at the moment of Joshua Fitt. So let's ride on board with Tim Joyan and Croydon. Up the pit straight again, you can see the long shot there, shows the hill. Now it flies up onto the tabletop of the pit stop, and then you head down towards turn 1, and he's getting closer and closer to Fitt all the while. We head through turn 1 now. There's a slight kink to the left for turn 2, just there. They call that turn 2, then we sweep into turn 3, hard on the brakes. And then you've got the back straightaway. Once again, it kinks a little bit to the right. Well, they give that a name, turn 4. That's it there. A little kink over the crest. And then we start to look down towards the turn 5 left-hander. It's quite a sharp, a little bit more than 90-degree left-hander, which they've got to get the braking. It's downhill braking, so you've got to be so precise. They actually go across, take a fair bit of the outside of the racetrack before then sweeping through the left into turn 6 now. Another 90-degree left-hander under the bridge. Off camber as you head down the hill. The car wants to walk out towards that grass. Then we head through the fast turn 7. Just breathe and fly through there towards the, once again, 90-degree left-hander at turn 8. And then we've got the double right hand, the carousel or the horseshoe, some people like to call it this. Turn 9 to turn 10, you basically got to pick that second apex, try and square the car off and then get on the throttle. Try not to run wide there because it will hurt your run all the way down to the kink at turn 11, which in a lot of cars is almost flat. It sounds pretty flat in these cars too, through the kink. Then we go down through the kettle bottoms, down the left here. You've got to just hold onto your hats and then start to size up Canada Corner, the right-hander, turn 12. And get it tucked in. You can take a fair bit of curve through there. Once again, a lot of runoff area there to use. And then we're down through the left hand over the top of the hill. Just a slight lift through there for 13 into the final corner, turn 14. And that is a lap around this Road America circuit. And it's, well, it can be a treacherous place, but these guys making it look pretty easy in the GT3 cars tonight in the Australian Sports Car Championship. Ross Rizzo still leads out in front. The gap 0.4 of a second, the top two now 3.8 seconds clear of third position. Santucci's in the pits for his stop now. This will be a fuel stop, and let's see who else comes in, if anyone else. So he's the first of the drivers other than those that came in on that formation lap. James Foster was one of those, and Isdale as well. Both came in on the formation lap. So I'm not sure how those pit stops are going to work. I think they were probably told to only use a fast repair or to repair the car. Santucci's got a drive-through penalty. That's what that is, in fact. So that's not stopping for gas or for tyres. That is a drive-through penalty. He gets back out onto the racetrack now, but drops all the way to 17th and last place due to that incident that we saw earlier. So Rizzo out in front. There's a look back. The gap between himself and Watson, you can see Watson's just been losing just under a tenth of a second on lap 3 and lap 4, and about 3/100ths on lap 5. So that margin, it's still staying within half a second though. You won't want to let Rizzo get away much further than that. If you can just keep in the tow, save some fuel, it'll work for him later on in the race. It's still a long way to go. Just on 38 minutes to go in the race, and Croydon still just shadowing everything that Josh Pitt does here as well for P3. Let's go back a little bit further. Hinds and James Foster, this battle for 6th position. Both these drivers have made incredible gains at the start of the race. 7 spots for Foster, 9 for Hinds. So both drivers starting towards the rear. I'm not sure what happened to their qualifying session. Both drivers have had to do it the hard way tonight and work their way forward. Jokin's in the house, are they, mate? Nice to have you here. He says, I love iRacing crashes. They're pretty good. I wish they all had the new damage model though. Gallagher back in the field with Bradley Ratu. This is Bradley regaining a couple of positions now, fighting forward after that incident at the start that saw him off in the gravel trap and facing the wrong way. So he's worked his way now back up into 13th place. To get himself in the top 10 tonight, that will be his goal probably at this stage. A bit of a recovery drive for him. As James Foster, P6, and Hinds continue their little battle. Stay on board here with Thomas Hinds and enjoy half a lap tucked in behind James Foster. James Foster looking good, P6. He's chasing down this man, Michael Healy. He's in a bit of a lonely race at the moment. It's 1.2 seconds to Croydon, 5.5 then back to Foster. So he's got to try and just close this margin, get in the tow, because what he's looking at up the road there is a podium position. If he can get in front of the 2 cars directly in front of him, then all of a sudden he gets a chance at standing on the podium tonight, with what looks like Ross Rizzo and Brad Watson are going to be hard to beat at the top. They've got that margin out to 5.2 now. Incredible. So back at the front with Ross Rizzo, the lap time is 2:03.0. Just having a look at that in comparison to the drivers further down the order. I think they've backed off a little bit now. That lap there, in fact, was pretty on par with some of the quickest laps we've seen, but Watson about 3/10 off his best, and then if you look back to Fit, he's about 6/10 off his best. So they're definitely just backing back a little bit at this 15-minute stage of the race to save some fuel. And of course the tyres will start to feel a little bit worse for wear as well as we get into this stint 15 minutes in now. So a couple of other drivers there. I'm just looking at the drivers that did personal best. Foster and Hinds, they both did a personal best on that previous lap. Michael Healy was about 1/10 off his outright pace. Croydon was about half a second off his pace down the order. Then Misdale, Greentree, Hewitt, they were all closer to a half a second to a second off their outright pace. So some sad news coming through from the admin team. This will be the last season, for now anyway, of the ASCC at the conclusion of this series. And they did want to do a shout out to and thank Pat Gallo, Lee Vanderberg, Rob Harris, Daniel Yeaman for all their help throughout this series and the season before as well. And it's sad to see it end how it is. It's been a great series. Like I said, I've enjoyed watching GT3 racing. It's been the GT3 staple here on Race Stars TV. And we wish the boys all the best. James and of course Adam Gardner, who puts a heck of a lot of time into this. So those boys, we'll see what they do next in their sim racing endeavours, but they'll have a bit of a break after this one, which is a well-deserved break too. It's been a really well-run series. A lot of work. I always say this, a lot of work goes into putting these series together, which people never, ever realise. The amount of hours that go in, the post-race things that they have to follow up on, and the dedication from the admin teams to make this possible is immense. So if you get a chance to thank them, put a comment up, or at least if you see them on Discord, give them some thanks for what they've done. That Audi looks like it's gone a little bit slow there for Misdale. Is he going slow? Has he got an issue? Definitely just letting Hopkinson go through. Now maybe that was a redress. He's back on it now, so he had to redress that position, I'm thinking, to Hopkinson, and he's got back up to speed. So definitely not a mechanical issue with the car, which I was worried about when I first saw him rolling down the pit straight. So he's okay. Back into racing rhythm. Just noticed the new fastest lap of the race too for Watson, went across the line with a 2:02.9, so he's turned the week up. That was 3/10 he took out of Ross Rizzo on the previous lap, which is fantastic. So we could have a race on our hands between the top two shortly, and maybe Ross Rizzo will have to get the elbows out tonight and won't be plain sailing from here on in. And I expect maybe Watson will try and get up close behind him and then maybe dive in for an undercut. So we're getting into that sort of window now, and of course Road America tonight. We go to Barber next round, which will be a sprint round. Then as we head into May, we're off to Daytona, and then Okayama. So what will be another sprint round, then Indianapolis and Donington Park will be the final round of the 2022 ASCC series. So a lot happening in the calendar as Watson crosses the line, quickest lap again at 2:02.8. Once again, 2/10 quicker than Rizzo, and the gap now 1/10 of a second. So it's on between the lead two. At this stage of the race, what's Rizzo going to do? How defensive will he want to be? Will he be happy just to maybe go back to second for a little while and just follow and save some fuel? I don't think any driver likes just going back to second place. That's not in their nature, their DNA. So Ross, I reckon, will fight this pretty hard. He's got the driving light on the Lambo tonight, keeping all the trees lit and animals seen. Not that it's nighttime out there, he's just cranked on the driving light. I'm pretty sure there's a switch in iRacing for that. And here we go. So Watson makes his move now into the lead of the race. Rizzo didn't fight it that hard in the end, which tells the story, doesn't it? Maybe there is going to be a bit of fuel saving now for Ross Rizzo, but Brad Watson is carrying incredible pace. What can he do now he's in clear air? Can he try and pull away a little bit? That Audi seems to be really well hooked up, and it's going through the corners. The front end looks secure. The back end's following nicely. It's not snapping out sideways like we've seen a couple of the Porsches tonight. So maybe that's the car to be in for this circuit. They are quite evenly balanced with the balance of power through iRacing, but they still have their little specialties, each car for different circuits. And right now, that Audi's looking beautiful. We've got two of them in the top three, with Josh Fitz still holding out Croydon in third place. On board with Ross Rizzo, P2 now. Let's have a look. Lap 10, 20 minutes in. Very wide through there. Into the final corner they go. Will he think about maybe jumping in for an early pit stop? He'll tuck in behind, down the pit straight away, flat out up over the crest. Watson crossing the line. What would this lap time be? That's pretty good, I think. Did a 2:02.87 last time round. It was a 2:03.6. In fact, he lost a bit of time there on that lap, having to pass Ross Rizzo. What he did do, though, is still eclipse Rizzo's time at 2:04.2 by 0.6 of a second. So really good turnaround speed here at this stage of the race. Let's go down the order a little bit. This is Misdale now under pressure from Bradley Ratu down in 12th position. So we'll follow this one down the pit straight away. Really be close enough to make the move. Ratu in the Lamborghini. Pulls out of the draft, has a little bit of a look to the inside. Now he's too far back. He just backs out of the throttle. You could hear him just holding about 2/3 throttle towards the end of the straight there, and he's happy just to tow for now. I think James Foster probably doing the same thing here behind Thomas Hinz. Hinz in the Porsche, of course, has the BMW tucked right behind him. That BMW looked much more snug through the corner, could hold its line as Hinz, who were on board with, ran quite wide. He does it again, kicks up the dust, so he's definitely using more racetrack to make the lap time work for him at the moment. Is he kicking up the grass once again? Thomas Hinz using all the track to perfection, but is he using just that little bit too much? Is he getting himself into that risk area where he could possibly throw it into the weeds? It's good through this section of the track though. The Porsche tends to just pull away a little bit through there, and the BMW of James Foster cannot follow him. You've got Edward Foster then next in the order, probably about 4 seconds back from James, so he's got a bit of work to do. Then it's a huge gap, 11 seconds back to the Red Pepper Racing. Wayne Hewitt, 9th place for the Lambo. And then you've got a further 1.8 second back to Jeremy Greentree, who's got Hopkinson quite close now after that earlier incident. He's got himself back in the running here in the Ferrari. Baxter is close to the back of Greentree now, trying to find a way through. We're right on board with the Ferrari as Hewitt kicks up some dust just up the road. 22.5 minutes into this 50-minute race tonight, and he's all over the back. Having a look, Greentree will have to be defensive down the pit straight now to try and hold position. So he should get a good drive now out of turn 14 and see if he can at least get alongside halfway down the straightaway. He's getting closer and closer, within a car length now. And here he goes to the inside. Greentree having a run, Hopkinson having a better run, and Hopkinson in the Ferrari moves himself up into 10th. Good overtake, so he set that up a long way back, and it worked to perfection. So Baxter up into 10th, and Jeremy back to 11th now at 23.5 minutes into this race. Foster now as well, fighting with Hinz, gets through, puts himself up into 6th place. Good turnaround, and puts Thomas Hinz between himself and Edward Foster. Comes straight back at him, the Porsche. He's looking keen. Good racing between these two. So it's the PCDR out in front. PDC Racing absolutely flying now, half a second lead over Ross Rizzo as he goes through. You almost want to put the siren on, don't you, with this livery on the car, the police livery. He is in control at this stage, and this looks like the duo we're going to see fight it out to the flag, because they've now dropped 3rd place, Josh Fitt, by 7.2 seconds at an average of around half a second a lap. They're dropping him at the moment. So is the pace of these top two out in front. They are just super quick. Top two go past our camera once again. And Rizzo close enough here to have a look. He goes defensive, Watson. Rizzo looks to the outside and no room through. Trans-Tasman Racing driver holds station as Croydon now drops into the pit lane. The first of the Porsches to go in for his stop, and he'll drop down the order as he's doing just that. So just keep an eye on this pit stop. The 119 car down the lane here. Quite a bit of dust in the pit lane here at Road America. He goes past James Glasspool, who's still sitting in the pit there, sadly retired from the race after that big incident at the start. We wait for Croydon now to take his fuel on board. 11 seconds so far. This will give us an indication. It was a long stop for Santucci, who had, I think, an issue in the pits, but that was pretty swift for Croydon, 17.9 stationary for his stop to get back out onto the racetrack, and holds down 13th position. So gives us an indication on what they'll need as far as fuel. 17.9 stationary. Misdale took 11.4 for his time, but that seems to be quite a short fuel. I wonder if he'll need to stop again. So no change at the top. Back to Josh Fitt, third place, simrigs.com, the DPR car. Looks pretty good. There's not a mark on the car, but just cannot run the outright pace of these two in front. Last lap around a 2:02.8 for Ross Rizzo, so he's now got the fastest lap of the race. They're continuing to trade fastest laps. There is Michael Healy holding fourth, and you've got to look a fair way back to this duo, Foster and Hinds, who are continuing to battle over fifth place. Both drivers making great gains in this race. 8 for Foster now, 10 for Hinds is the positions they've made up since the start, and they continue to fight forward. Then it's Edward Foster running a little lonely race ahead of Wayne Hewitt. Hopkinson, who's just behind him, and then Green Tree, who's also just in behind. You can see Ratu next in line, and then Gallagher, who's back in 12th place. So quite a gap as Thomas Hinds now jumps out of the battle and into the pit lane. So he's decided, right, it's time to get away from that fight with Foster, and it's time to take on fuel to get him home. So this will be an interesting stop, and strategy-wise against Foster now, to see if he can play this game and get track position back. James will need a really good lap now, and let's keep an eye on him as he heads around. He's got no one in front of him. He's got a 5-second gap in front and a 5-second gap behind. So no excuses, just needs a really good, fast, clean lap now. Seems quite slow, the on board with the BMW. It doesn't rev as hard, or it's not as aggressive in sound and movement as some of the other cars. I'm just trying to look at his speeds, see what his sectors are, mid-sectors, but the onboard definitely doesn't sound like he's driving a 7/10. It's just a different note, different engine note. Obviously, you jump on board in something like Ross Rizzo's car, and it looks so much quicker, it sounds so much quicker. Just watching those times for James Foster just to check he isn't dropping back. Dropping back slightly to the race leaders. It's 15.8. It was 15.6 at the start of this lap. I think that's just the natural amount of time he's losing to Watson at the moment, because Watson and Rizzo still firing this amazing pace. 203.1 to 203.2. We head up the pit straight once again. They're staying out, so they're not keen for a pit stop just yet. What about Josh Fitt, P3? He stays out as well. So does Michael Healy in P4. James Foster, however, comes into the pit, so this is to cover off the pit stop and from Thomas Hinds, who's back 42 seconds from here. So really important stop now for James Foster to get himself back out in front of Thomas Hinds and regain track position. Wayne Hewitt's also come into the pits. Edward Foster stayed out, by the way, so he's just gone past us now and disappears down the road. We're going to keep an eye on this, because where is Thomas Hinds? Just coming down through the final parts of the circuit now as James Foster takes fuel. And where is he? Thomas Hinds, he's just coming to the last corner now, turn 14. So really important for James Foster to get this pit stop perfectly right. It was 17.9 seconds worth of fuel that Hinds took on board. It's already 19, and now he gets rolling. He's not going to keep track position here. That was a longer stop by 2 seconds. And Thomas Hinds, there he goes, straight through, back into 10th place, puts Foster back to 11th. And I wonder if that, in fact, it was longer. It was 4 seconds difference in the fuel stop, a 15.4 for Hinds and a 19.7 for James Foster. So about 4 seconds of difference in the pit stop. And look at the time on the racetrack, 4 seconds. 4 seconds covering P10 and P11. Back with the battle at the front. Ross Rizzo's got back in front now of Brad Watson. He's made the move stick. He might try and get you a replay on the overtake. here it was, unless, oh, they're going to go in the pits, both in the pits. So here's a quick look at the overtake whilst both drivers go into the pits. Have a look at that first. So it was Rizzo just slipping down the inside by the looks of things, and he got it done very easily. But now, as we go back to live, we've got Fit and Healy also in the pit lane. So an important stop coming up for both of these drivers. Brad Watson just behind Ross Rizzo. They'll stop on their marks. And has Brad Watson, seeing as though he followed Rizzo in that first stage of the race, been able to save enough fuel to take maybe a second or two less in the pits and possibly come out in front? We can hear someone doing the old shifting down the pit lane. I think that was Joshua Fit, shifting from first to second or fifth, sixth or whatever they do to try and edge a little bit of time out of the pit lane. Rizzo goes away very quickly, so does Watson. He bags it up, but Rizzo's definitely got an advantage there. And the stationary time was 6/10 less for Ross Rizzo, so he's taken maybe a little bit of a gamble there just to make sure he covers off Watson, and he's got out in front. But will he have to now save fuel to the end of this race? Josh Fit remains in third as well. He took 18.1, so he took an extra 2 seconds worth of fuel compared to those competitors in front of him. And Michael Healy, he took 17.3 seconds worth of fuel, which got him a second closer to Josh Fit. You can actually see him just up the road now. So the top four covered by 13.4 seconds as we head into the 32-minute mark of the race. Lap 16 here at Road America. Had Road Atlanta this week, Road America. We're off to, I think it's Winton and Bathurst tomorrow night for the Roads to Rumble. Should be fun. We've got Bathurst for F3A on Tuesday night as well, so some good tracks coming up this week on Racestars TV. Ratu here, still fighting with Green Tree, down in 11th place. Front of them, it's Baxter Hopkinson now under pressure from Green Tree. He's trying to hold out the BMW here, so it's Ferrari, BMW and Lamborghini separated by nothing at all, 0.3 of a second to cover these three drivers. You can see the amount of speed they carry through that right-hander. Now down to the sweeping left. Different line into the corner there. Was Hopkinson a little bit untidy the way he came in, and that's cost him time to Green Tree, who's all over the back of him now. Through the carousel once again, and we start to head down the hill as part of the racetrack. Important to get a good run. We've got a car off the track. It's Gouch is in the fence, and he does a little pirouette and gets back on his way. Meanwhile, Hopkinson just holding out Green Tree, but he's alongside him now, going for the overtake down the inside. Will he get it done? He has a look. We'll jump on board with Ratu, who gets a good look at this. In fact, wow, Green Tree. No, it was Hopkinson that he ended up bailing out and going off the circuit there. So Baxter drops back to 12th place. Green Tree and Ratu both go through into 10th and 11th. So unlucky there for Hopkinson in all that, and Gallagher as well, who just spun earlier. Both drivers there having a little bit of bad luck here at this 34-minute mark of the race. Here comes Brady Ratu moving alongside. He wants to get a piece of the action, and he does. He gets in front. So Bradley up into 10th now, pushes Jeremy Green Tree back down to 11th place. That's where Bradley started the race. Remember, he had that off at the start. He gets himself now clawed back to his starting position. Now it's all forward from here. Can he work his way up into the top 5? Well, the gap to 5th place from there is quite a long way up the road, about 24 seconds or so. This is the man, Ben Croydon, running in 5th place. He's dropped 1 position from where he started the race. As we hit 15 minutes to go, and the 119 just trying to hold out Thomas Hinds, who did that great pit stop and got ahead of James Foster once again. It's Foster and Foster still within about 7 seconds of each other. So James Foster is 7.1 back to Edward Foster, and then further nearly 10 seconds back to Wayne Hewitt. So it's quite spread out again tonight. Here's the track map just to show you what I mean. P1 just coming onto the pit straight now, and then you can see 13th place about halfway through the lap. So is the distance between the drivers in this race tonight. Anzac long weekend. Hopefully everyone's keeping Anzac in there, all the Anzacs at the top of their thoughts and not just enjoying the public holiday for what it is. It's a special time to remember and be grateful for all the hard-fought battles and all the hard-fought times post-battle as well that the soldiers and men and women that fought through the wars of all the great things they've done to serve our country and protect our country. So keep that in your mind throughout tomorrow morning and throughout the day, and let's keep it for the right reasons, this public holiday, and not just use it as an excuse to go get wasted or make the most of the day for the right reasons. It's inspiring even today, seeing the amount of people already preparing themselves for different dawn services tomorrow. A couple of country towns I visited today. I just went for a drive down an hour and a bit south of where I live, just to look at look at different things that were going on. And yeah, there was already a lot of movement in the small country towns, little villages. And it's good to see they're preparing for a big day tomorrow. So Anzac weekend's a special weekend as we watch Ross Rizzo still dominating now, 2.2 seconds. He's dropped Brad Watson since the pit stop. Watson just doesn't seem to have the pace to go with him. And the gap, you can see the Audi. Maybe it's with, maybe Ross Rizzo just had some sandbags in at the start, and now he's thrown them out the window. We do have this battle between Croydon though and Hinds, and Croydon's under attack. Hinds gets a run down the outside. He won't go for it just yet, but he's definitely starting to size him up. As Ratu is in the pits now to join Glasspool, who's in the pits. Jono Freeman, Dylan Shepard and Justin Quinn have all unfortunately DQ'd from this race. Thomas Hinds runs wide again. He's putting a lot of effort into this charge. How much does he want to use up those tyres? We're still just on 11 minutes to go in the race. Here he goes, having a run now, flat out down towards the left-hander, and he should be able to make this stick. Gets far enough alongside. I think Croydon will probably try to go around the outside and keep the boot in, which he does just that. A couple of Porsches, very evenly matched cars, but on the inside, Thomas Hinds well set up, takes the position away, goes up into 5th place now, so good job. He started setting that move up a long way back and positioned the car well to make sure, yes, he would have to work pretty hard on the first left-hander, but then once he got that done, the second left-hander was a given. He was right in the right position. He moves up into 5th now, so that's 11 positions for Thomas Hinds. Next person up the road for him, Michael Healy, and the gap is about 4.7 seconds to try and chase him down. Watching the times between Fit and Healy as well. There's Fit, and you can just see the last lap. Healy took about 3/10 out of him. He took 1.2 seconds out of him on lap 16, so he's definitely getting closer. The last lap went back, the pendulum swung a little bit back to the Fit. Nearly 2/10 he took back, but all in all, in the last 3 laps, it's been a deficit of about 1.3 seconds that Michael Healy's been able to gather him up, which brings it down to a 1.9 second margin. There he is. So the Lamborghini visually closer now on this lap. And here we go. He could find himself very soon on the tail and fighting for this podium place. Meanwhile, Croydon and Hinds still fighting over 5th. I guess they're staying in it because, one, it's good points, but also, you just never know. If the drivers in front might take each other out, you might end up with still getting on the podium today. So good battle unfolding between these two. It's going to go down to the wire. No doubt Rizzo continues to knock off 203.2s, 203.3 for Watson, 203.4 for Josh Fitt, crossing the line on that lap. Here he goes across with the 203.3, a 203.6 for Hinz and a 203.6 for Croydon. So very evenly matched, these two drivers. And well, I think Croydon's going to have to probably just wait and try and catch a mistake from Thomas. He doesn't tend to make a lot of mistakes. It may be a long 7.5 minutes to try and find a way through here. In the background, James Foster's now within 3.5 seconds or so, 3.8 seconds in fact, of Croydon. And then Edward Foster a little bit further back, 9.5 seconds down the order. Tyson's in the house. Hello, Tyson. Nice to have you here, man. It's very quiet over on Facebook tonight. The cricket. So Tyson's there. Thanks, mate. Hope you're doing well and enjoy your Anzac weekend, mate. Keep safe as we head into the final 7 minutes now of the race. So it was an interesting start to this race with some incidents on the formation lap causing them to throw a yellow and run an extra lap prior to the race, and it had prolonged things a little bit. I'm not sure how it will change the fuel numbers. Obviously the time was reset when it went green, and I'm not sure how iRacing has worked that in yet, whether or not they don't count the fuel being used in those formation laps. I'm pretty sure they do. So if you throw an extra formation lap, surely it's extra fuel out of the car, and they've got to rejig their calculations for what will be a 50-minute race. So six and a bit minutes to go in the race. All the pit stops have been run and done. The pit strategy pretty straightforward tonight. You can see Rizzo, Watson, Fitt and Healy all came in on lap 15. And then Hinz was a couple of laps earlier than that, lap 13. Croydon was lap 12. Foster 14 and Foster was 15, with Hewitt and Greentree 14 and 15. So they're all pretty similar, give or take a couple of laps for the pit strategy tonight. There's your race leader, Ross Rizzo, in control. Not a mark on the car. 2.4 seconds, the margin, the Lamborghini for TTR. Looking like it's going to bring home a great victory tonight. In this round number 6 of the ASCC Australian Sports Car Championship, he leads Brad Watson in the PDC Racing Police Audi. So Ross Rizzo dominating out in front, 5 minutes to go, less than 5, just on 4 and a bit minutes to go. So with the lap times, he should get maybe 3 laps in here. Just watching, it's going to be pretty close to a line ball. Across the line, I'll tell you when he crosses the line, we'll have a look at the time to go. He's crossing the line now, and well, it'll be very close. It'll be 4 seconds off having to do that extra lap tonight, and that's where it can sometimes catch the drivers out if they haven't put enough fuel in for an extra lap. If iRacing gods choose to throw the white flag with 4 seconds to go, sometimes they will just declare the race. If it's that close to the time certainty in iRacing, they tend to just declare the race, but a lot of the time, most of the time, it will throw the extra lap and you'll get the white flag with 4 seconds to go. So if you've used a fuel calculator and it's been quite precise on the laps, you could be in a bit of trouble. If you've given it the tick box gives it an extra lap of fuel, then you'll be safe. Hinz has been able to pull away from Croydon here, so he looks pretty comfortable in 5th place now. The last lap for Thomas was a 3.2 versus 3.8 Croydon, so quite a margin of difference between the two. F1 tonight, who's keen for that? Looking forward to seeing what's going on in F1 land after that sprint race the other night, which was exciting to watch. An interesting race tonight, hopefully. It's not the easiest track to overtake, Imola. It's got a lot of history there, of course, and we're heading there for the F3s on Tuesday night, so it's definitely it's good. It's going to be a week of Imola here on Race Stars TV, and you watch the lap times tick down here. There's Hopkinson for 11th tonight, so he's just outside the top 10. Jeremy Greentree has got 8 positions forward tonight into the top 10, so great drive, should be noted. So he's pushed forward well. Thomas Hinz is our biggest mover and shaker, 11 positions up into 5th, so fantastic effort by him tonight as well, as Ross Rizzo comes through to start what will be, I think, the second last lap of the race. We'll have a look at the time now. It could be actually very close to 1 to go, because look at the time now. He's crossing the line right now, and that's 2 minutes and 2 seconds to go. That lap time, 2 minutes and 3 seconds. So if he does another 2:03, this will be the final lap of the race, and we'll get the checker flag next time round. So time's running out here for Watson, 2.4 seconds. He's not going to catch him. And Josh Fitt and Healy, you can see the gap between Joshua Fitt and Michael Healy down to 1.4. Healy's also running out of time here if he wants to make this TTR 1-3. So I'm predicting this will be the final lap of the race, and we saw some incidents at the start, sadly, that took out Quinn, Shepherd, Freeman, Glasspool as well went out very early, and Daniel Misdale, we lost him on lap 11. So then it was Bradley Ratu, dropped out lap 17, sadly, and there are retirements for tonight. But those that have stayed on and not got into trouble have driven pretty well. It's been quite clean, some good overtakes, but Ross Rizzo's made it look easy at the front. Just maintaining this gap now, 2.4 seconds to bring it home. So TTR driver to notch up another win in this series. He's only got about a third of the racetrack to go, and the gap's still at 2.3. He could back off a little bit now and just enjoy bringing this home. He goes down towards the final couple of corners now. He's not easing up at all, is he? He throws it into the final corner, and 10 seconds to go on the clock. Will we get the extra lap tonight? Will iRacing give us one more? I reckon they're going to. No, they're not. They call it a night. The checker flag drops, and it's Ross Rizzo who takes the win. Rizzo crosses the line ahead of Brad Watson, who gets second, and well, in the end it was 2.3 seconds between them. Fitt is going to hold on to third, but only just. Look how close Healy is as they run to the line. It's Fitt just ahead of Michael Healy, who gets 4th. Thomas Hinz confirmed 5th, now ahead of Croydon and Foster. We'll round out your top 7 ahead of Edward Foster, who's going to come home in 8th place tonight. Wayne Hewitt looks like he'll get 9th place as he's just coming up towards the final couple of corners. There's Edward Foster now crossing the line for 8th. Wayne Hewitt, Red Pepper Racing, will get 9th tonight, and Jeremy Greentree to round out your top 10. Good effort by him tonight as well. We'll have a chat hopefully to the drivers shortly, and we'll wrap it all up here on Race Stars TV for round number 6 of the Australian Sports Car Championship. Ross Rizzo, too strong tonight. He takes the win. He takes the full points tonight, and he is the winner of our outright pro class as well. According to the overlay that I was given tonight, Croydon is the winner of the amateur class as well. And then Foster, that's James Foster, the winner of the Pro-Am class. That's how it's come up on my screen anyway, so we'll have a talk to the drivers shortly. And well done to all of them. Let's head down now and have a quick look shortly at the results when they're made available from iRacing. And of course, head to the broadcast booth, and hopefully these drivers are going to come in for a chat this week. I couldn't chat to them last week because I had no voice. I've got a bit of a voice tonight, so I'm standing by. P3, Josh Fitt, good drive tonight in the Audi. looked well hooked up out there, and he held out Michael Hill in the end by only half a second. So he got really close towards that last couple of corners. There's your official results up on the screen now. Rizzo 2.3 in the end ahead of Watson and Fit, your top 3 all pro drivers. And then it was Ben Croydon tonight, the top amateur driver, getting 6th place outright. James Foster, the top pro-am driver, 7th outright tonight, ahead of Edward Foster in 8th. And then right down the order, you can see the drivers that dropped out early. Santucci unfortunately dropped a lap there, 13th. Ratu, Nisdale, Glasspool, Freeman and Queen all out of the race early on. Let's get a chat now with the top drivers who've just joined me. And congratulations tonight, Ross. Rizzo with a win, mate. Good job in the end. You had to fight for it at the start, but at the end it looked nice and comfortable.
It was anything but. Brad was awesome tonight. So I was impressed and surprised to get away with it, because our pace was very evenly matched, and thought he definitely had me in certain spots, and then looks like I just eked out the gap towards the end of the stint. But yeah, that race was won and lost in the pits, and I just had a look at what happened, and it looks like he let the revs drop too low as he exited his pit box, and I think that was the difference today. So it's those little 1% things that make a difference when it's as tight as it was.
Yeah, Watson a 16.6 through the pits, you're a 16.0, so a bit of time there.
Yeah, but I noticed that, but I definitely found that by the time he got the car up to speed, I was basically back on the road, good to go again, and he was still kind of coughing and sputtering away from the box from the drop in the revs, and I think that was it. But yeah, awesome races. Good to see Brad race again tonight. It's been a while since I've seen him race. I know he's a bit of a beast in the Audi, so it was a great battle with Brad.
Yeah, and Brad, well done, man. The PCD car out there looking great. And you had your fan, Smurth Larry, over in YouTube watching and cheering you on. So, well done. Good battle with Ross.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Oh, Ross, mate, you're just too good. Brings back memories of a few years ago battling around with you. But, look, yeah, I made a mistake in the pits. I was in the wrong gear when I took off, and the car basically just almost died. So, once Ross got out of the pits, I knew I pretty much wasn't going to catch him. We were pretty much the same pace. So, not a lot I can do. Don't race a hell of a lot anymore, so congratulations to Ross and everyone else.
Great drive, man. And then Josh, well done. You had a good battle at the end there with Michael Healy coming in strong, but you got yourself into the top 3 tonight in the Audi and it looked really comfortable out there.
Yeah, it was a bit of fun. I had nothing for the two boys out the front. They were in a different league tonight, but yeah, always fun to get around and spend some time around one of my favourite tracks. And yeah, Michael was closing in at the end, but I managed to hold him off, and just being consistent, I guess, is something I've been working on over the last little while. So it's good to not make too many mistakes in the second half of the race. But no, good fun, and thanks to everyone for putting it on. To shame this league's wrapping up. I've only really got into it the last probably month or so, but it's been a pleasure for the time I've been around. Yeah,
it's sad news to hear that this will be the final season, but the boys in admin and they've done a great job, and the drivers too. Joining each week. It's just a little bit sad that it couldn't continue on, but yeah, these guys they deserve a break too. James and Adam, they've worked so hard, and everyone else involved too. Let's do some thank yous. Ross, start with you, the race winner tonight. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, on that note, a huge thank to Adam, James, Pat and Justin for all their hard work in the getting the Australian Sports Car Championship up and running, and continuing to run the league as they have. Big thank you to you, Luke, at Race Stars TV for the fantastic broadcasts. And a big thank you to Trans Tasman Racing, Virtual Racing School, TP Race Design, Kart FX Model Cars, Parenzo and X-Trim Motor Trimming.
Great drive tonight, man, and looking forward to the final rounds. Let's hope we can get heaps of drivers in to celebrate this series as we round it out for, and just, I guess, give a bit back to the admin by trying to get high attendance numbers. So that would be fantastic if we can spread the word. Brad, who would you like to thank for P2?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone that's put the league on, all the competitors that race. Ross, you're a weapon. Big shout out to the PCDR boys. Hopefully they're all watching. And you for putting the broadcast on, and yeah, just for all the work that everyone does behind the scenes. It's a good little league, and it's a lot of fun to race, and it's a shame to see it die. But shout out to Project X Racing, Modern Warrior Muay Thai, and all the teammates that I've got. Cheers, boys.
Great, man. Hopefully we can see you, Brad, back for a few more races towards the end of the season too.
Certainly will, mate. Certainly will.
Excellent. And then Josh, finally tonight, top 3 for you. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, I'd love to thank the boys at simrigs.com, DPR Racing. I came on board with them a couple of weeks ago. It's been a pleasure thus far. I look forward to many more. races along the journey, major sponsors Simrix.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoist, Ben Mac Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, MP Design. Thanks to all of them, and to you guys for putting on the broadcast each and every week, and the admins Adam and James for running the league.
Cool. All right, well, thanks to your podium tonight. Ross Rizzo with a win, Brad Watson P2 and Josh Fit P3. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, that's it for tonight here from Race Stars TV. Big thanks to everyone that tuned in tonight and was part of the broadcast. To Smurf Larry, you're a legend. Jokin dropped in as well. And over on Facebook, we had Tyson Hammer, Graham Ellis was in the house, Eddie and Keith. Thanks to you guys for jumping in and saying g'day. Until next time, tomorrow night we have the Roads to Rumble doing another couple of special events. It's there a couple of weeks off, so they decided to just do some fun events. So tomorrow night it should be a pretty great night of racing with 2 different categories run once again over 2 hours. So come and hang out with us around 7 o'clock tomorrow night for that one here on Race Stars TV. And a big thanks to Taipan Events too, YouTube, for hosting all our YouTube at the moment. So big thanks to them. Till next time, I'm Luke. This is Race Stars TV. Good night.